some great water this time, no tea, trying to stay hydrated. Christmas is in a week and a half. It's a little bit crazy to think of, the fact that it's come up that fast. So this week's video, I thought we would talk about how, as a Christian creative, how I'm dealing with the Christmas stress. Because there's a lot of it, a lot of projects, especially if you've worked in a church, or maybe you attend a church, you see what Christmas Eve is like, Christmas Day, all these kind of things, all the social media posts we make now, all these things, gets rather hectic. So I actually thought I'd give you my 3 tips to dealing with the stress during Christmas. And I think these 3 tips you can generally apply to anything else you're doing in life during this really busy time, but specifically creatives, I'm talking to you. And actually, now that I think about it, bonus tip number 1, we're hitting the video off strong here. Hydrate. Take care of yourselves. Get the right sleep. Eat food. I didn't eat food one of my shoot days and I felt like trash. So please take care of yourselves. That's bonus tip number 1. But I've got 3 more tips to tell you guys. Let's get right into it so you can get the facts, so you can get back out there and making something cool for the kingdom. All right. Welcome to Young Humanity. Okay, number 1, folks. Let me put this water down. Number 1, organization, everybody. Especially during this extremely busy time where there's countless projects being done. Maybe there's a social media blast that has to be put out on such and such day. Organization, especially in our lives, is so key. And there's about 4 ways that I make sure that I'm organized throughout this December, and really in general, but it applies so heavily now. So number 1 on that list of 4, guys, it's Google Calendar. Easiest app to use, really. I mean, whatever calendar app you decide to use, maybe it's Apple or whatever it may be, please use a calendar app. It's just so important and really takes so much of the stress off of me to focus on other things, right? I don't need to remember when I'm filming or shooting next. I just make sure all that is in Google Calendar. It can be an easy, quick check. I'm like, oh yeah, filming that this afternoon, those kind of things. I put as much of my filming as I can. I block out my work days, try to set aside editing time, those kind of things. I just find it easier when I'm not stressing and worrying about, hey, am I filming today, am I not? Just quick and easy check. So Google Calendar is the first one, okay? Second one, which is kind of a 2-parter, are 2 different productivity apps that I use. One is for more of a personal use and one is due to me working at my church. So first app, Notion. I learned it from Ali Abdal's video quite a while ago now, and I love Notion. It's just so intuitive, so great. That's where I do all of my scripting. It's where I write my ideas down. I have a big list of future YouTube video ideas, as well as ways to keep track of certain ideas I have for my church and some projects I like to create with them. And yeah, Notion is fantastic for that. Second productivity app that I use out of those ones is called ClickUp. I'm sure you've heard of that one as well. If you've heard of Notion, both are pretty big in the scene of productivity anyways. Our church uses ClickUp for keeping track of deadlines, notes for us to, during meetings and everything, projects when they're due, all those kind of great things. It really keeps me on task, takes a bit of that stress off. I don't need to remember, everything in my head. When is this due? When is this due? Oh no, I missed the deadline. It's on ClickUp. Lastly, folks, I really just use notes, like paper and pencil, or I actually bring my iPad to work, and I use an app called Notability to write out notes on. And I just do a very simple task list per day. So I look at ClickUp and I see what I need to be done, and then I make my own list that I can just easily check off as I go, and I go fill out ClickUp later. And you might think, Josh, that's a little redundant. Yeah, it might be, but that's my system. That's how it works for me. And I just like being able to take a pencil or pen or something and just scratch that off, being like, that's done for the day, time to move on to the next subject. So yeah, maybe that'll work for you, maybe it won't. Let me know in the comments which you use to stay organized. I know I've actually heard a lot of YouTubers use Apple Notes and they just type on their phone and everything. So if that works for you, let me know. I'd be happy to hear that and, gain some new ideas. I'm giving some, but I'd love to hear back from you guys as well. So let me know. Okay, on to the next way to handle the stress of Christmas time. Okay, so the second way that I found is what I like to call how to focus, how to get the work done in a given day, because maybe you don't have much time. I know in this season, meetings seem to be always and lasting forever somehow, and it never seems like you have enough time to sit at your desk and get some actual editing put out, or maybe it's, you need to finish that graphic for the day, but someone's always interrupting. I recently read a book by Cal Newport called Deep Work. If you haven't read it, I'd recommend it. It's a pretty good book. We might do a full video on it later as well. And essentially, the brass tacks of it is getting you to do something, as the book is titled, called deep work. And in that, you put a period of time where you dedicate yourself to doing that, which means turning off that phone or airplane mode, whatever it may be, letting people know, hey, don't come interrupt me. Sometimes it's really good and healthy for you to set boundaries in those times, because they don't know that you're working on those things that you really need to put your full brain power on. And the book goes on to say how much better it is for you to focus. Multitasking, unfortunately, really doesn't work. So my recommendation is to listen to Cal Newport with his Deep Work book. 100% focus. If you need to crack that graphic out, maybe you only have half an hour. Doing a half an hour of deep work is significantly better than doing half an hour of, oh, I got texted by my brother, or oh, I have another Facebook notification. Oh, I kind of want to watch the Netflix series, Formula One. Doesn't really work that well. So put all those away, airplane mode wherever you have the airplane mode, and get to work. And lastly, how I am truly getting through this Christmas season is through what I like to call support or community. As creatives, I'm sure many of you watching or maybe in the thick of things right now can find it a rather lonely place. It's pretty easy to kind of put yourself in a silo and just get to work and continue to work. And I get it. Like, some of these projects are kind of our babies, and we just love the ideas we have, and we think it's the best thing we've ever seen. And then we show it to someone and they go, oh, that really wasn't what I was expecting. And not to say that it's bad by any means, but it's hard for you to sometimes get different perspectives, to take a big step back and see how you're actually doing. I know for me, I'm so fortunate at the church that I work at, where I have multiple individuals that are more than willing to sit down and watch whatever I'm working on, or help me with my edit, or like, hey Josh, that's great, or hey Josh, maybe tweak that a little bit. Working with supportive individuals allows for constructive criticism to be given. And as hard as that might be for some of us creatives to take, and trust me, it was hard for me to take for a while, it's also really important for us to understand. So as long as there's a great sense of trust between you and your other person, their criticism isn't coming from a place of negativity or, you're bad at your job. It's coming from a place of, they want you to be better. They want to challenge you to push forward and become better at whatever you're doing, whether it's videography or creating graphics or social media posts, whatever that may be. And that's a great place to be. So that's about it, folks, for how I am working through this Christmas season. It's bonkers that in a week and a half from now, Christmas will be here. I kid you not, next week I have close to 14 or 15 different videos that I need to punch out, and I am both excited and nervous and obviously stressed about it. But I know with the 3 different ways we looked at today, from organizing myself to, working with others and finding that time where I can sit down and really get to that work and find that deep work time, that I'll be able to push through. And ultimately, the best person we can rely on is Jesus, as he is giving us the strength this season to kind of push through and make some great and cool, interesting content for the church, because it's been a long year for many people in 2021, and Christmas was just as difficult and challenging as ever, and not knowing if you could meet up or not, or see your family and everything. And I think God is really working in us to make some stuff for you to come on to Christmas Eve and really feel like you're part of something. So that's about it for all I have this week, folks. Next week, the week of Christmas, practically, I'll have something to post about. Not entirely sure yet, but stay tuned for that. Let's go make something cool for the kingdom, and I'll see you next week.